That's just one thing about having our guy back. You know, we know 11 is going to draw a lot of attention anyways, anywhere he puts. So it gives players like myself the opportunity to make some plays. You know, I was able to capitalize on some of those. You know, missed the crucial sack in the red zone that's going to hunt me. But you know, we got one of our guys back. You can tell it definitely, you know, lit a fire under everybody. And I think it's more to come with 11 and 13 out there together.
What is going on, Cowboys Nation? We are back with another film session, and I had to come in here and break down Demarvion Overshown going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. And he has been one of the best players on his defense, who leads the team with 4 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss, and is second on the team with 67 tackles. And breaking down Cowboys film this year, it has been tough, but it is good to talk about the players that's been doing well as the players that got work to do. But seeing Overshown be consistent this year, he is one of the players that I think that this team can be able to build around. So it's always good to see how he's progressing on the field. So when you're taking a look at Demarvion Overshown, it's good to see that this player has the ability to get after these quarterbacks when he's blitzing in between A and B gaps. You see a lot of linebackers in the league, they're very physical, they can roam sideline to sideline, but some linebackers don't have a knack to be able to close in and get to these quarterbacks. And usually when I'm evaluating film, not only do I want to see an athletic player, but are you one of the guys that will not give up and play to the whistle? But seeing him blitzing in the interior and finding a way to be able to slip away from Lane Johnson, this is what you want to see from your second year linebacker, going out there and setting the tone. So activating the system. So running this play here, you see that he's taking off. I love the speed when it comes down to a guy like Overshown. Lane Johnson, he's not really paying attention. He does collide with Overshown and knocks him off balance. But whenever you have situations like this, are you going to be a linebacker that's going to play to the whistle? And these are the things I look for when it comes down to film. Quickly finding a way to slip right through Lane Johnson. And next thing you know, he closes in on Jalen Hurts. And to be a player that is leading a team in sacks at the linebacker position, this is how you can be able to make Pro Bowls, All Pros. And with Overshown being in the second season, he's honestly a rookie in my eyes because he was hurt last year. But you can see this player's star potential week in and week out. And I can't say the same for everybody on this defense, but we know that Overshown is a dog, Micah Parsons, so it's imperative to build around these two players. And I got to be honest with y'all, not everybody on this defense is about that life. They have a lot of cleaning up to do as far as this unit, and there are no excuses when it comes down to this team. But when you're seeing Demarvion Overshown going out there and being a player that can be physical, as well as closing in and getting to the quarterback, he has definitely been one of the bright spots on his defense for sure. So here's another play here that I saw from Demarvion Overshown, and I'm not saying that he had the perfect game. There were a few missed tackles. If he was able to secure these tackles, he would have probably ended up with about 3 sacks. But the good thing is, he does have an understanding of positioning and getting down to the basics. We've seen it a lot from this player, but if he can do it consistently, that's going to allow this player to be able to take that next step. And with these top notch NFL linebackers, they're coachable. Guys that can go out there and learn from their mistakes and be better on the next rep. And this is what you get when it comes down to a guy like Demo. So we'll go ahead and split it. So running this play here, you see that he's aggressively trying to attack Jalen Hurts. And next thing you know, Hurts put a move on him. And the thing is, when you're playing that quarterback position, a lot of those quarterbacks, they like to be slick. They understand that usually all it takes is one little move to evade these guys. He was able to scramble outside the pocket and hit the tight end for a touchdown. And if Demarvion Overshown was able to get Jalen Hurts down, that would have probably been the biggest difference on his possession. And with these quarterbacks in the NFL, especially in our division, a lot of these quarterbacks can be able to move. So you would like to keep these players inside the pocket. But I did want to show y'all this play because this was another one of those reps where he could have had another sack and got a huge tackle for a loss. But usually when you have a player that has the closing speed like him, sometimes it forces these quarterbacks to make a mistake. And I'm sure once we continue on in the season, we will see more Demarvion Overshown blitzing and making plays. But being able to secure that tackle is huge. And he even mentioned that that was one of the plays that he missed. So it's good to hear that he's aware of it. Finding out what you did wrong, correcting it, and moving on to the next rep. One thing I like to see from linebackers is their ability to get through would-be blocks and use their length and long arms to make those shoestring tackles. Playing that linebacker position often involves awkward angles when tackling, but when you see a player's effort to stretch and get these guys down, it is impressive. And this is how you gain trust from coaches by playing hard throughout the play and making a difference. And this is exactly what we've been seeing from Demo. So we'll go ahead and run it. So watching this play here, just studying Demarvion Overshown, it's so good to see that this guy's using his eyes and he dips it low. And it looks like he lost his balance. But zooming in on that left arm of his, it's so good to be able to catch this because this is the only place you're going to be able to see this detail. Seeing him being able to shoestring tackle Saquon Barkley and getting him down. And with Saquon Barkley, we know how slippery he can be, slicing through the defense and getting down to the second level. And the good thing is, guys like Demarvion Overshown, he's aware of that and he's playing through the whistle. That's why a lot of these coaches, not only are they looking for players that's aggressive, fast, roaming sideline to sideline, but are they tall players? Do they have long arms? Because these reps here are why they're looking for players like that. And it's the little things when it comes down to scouting these linebackers, but the better scouts in the NFL, you got to be on top of that when it comes down to evaluating these players. Physicality, length, speed. Is he a good player on and off the field? All of that matters. And this is what you get when it comes down to Overshown. And it's unfortunate because in the fourth quarter, he did end up getting hurt. So we got to make sure that this player is healthy all throughout the season because he has been one of the only defenders showing up every game. So the more reps that he can be able to get out there is only going to get him better. Here's another rep I really like where he was able to attack the tight end's inside shoulder. I love to see defensive ends and linebackers use these crossface moves and attack these ball carriers. And usually, if you have this energy to make solid key tackles, it can force turnovers and sometimes completely shift momentum. These are the type of plays that can make the world a difference. So let's run it. So watching this play, you see that he's on the opposite side of the ball and attacking that tight end shoulder. And those tight ends, they cannot stand when you're able to do that because they can get away quickly. Next thing you know, he locks it on 14 and secures the tackle. And this player has been so active all season, but you want these other players to be able to feed off this type of energy. And with this defense, I don't want to point the finger at just one guy. It's a collective thing when it comes down to this unit, but you have to look at the coaches as well. If these players are not buying in early on, you will definitely see it on the field. But sometimes when you have a dog like a Demarvion Overshown, he wants to go out there and make plays anyway. And we're losing a lot of games right now. But one thing I look for when it comes down to film is which players are still working hard, even though this team is losing. And these are the players you got to keep, Cowboys Nation. Finding players that you can be able to build around Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, Demarvion Overshown, and getting this team in the right direction. But they definitely have a lot of work to do. But with this rep here, going out there and attacking that tight end's inside shoulder and making a tackle, it was another good rep by the young linebacker. Here's a quick rep of Demarvion Overshown and Eric Kendricks. We see that they're in that double A gap scheme. We know with Mike Zimmer, they love those linebackers to be hugging in between those A gaps. Sometimes he's sending both of those linebackers, or these players can be shooting out in coverage. But it ended up being a pass for Saquon Barkley. He caught the ball to the left side. Eric Kendricks' behavior on this play, we know that when it comes down to Saquon Barkley, he is a very athletic player. So you have to attack him as soon as you get the chance. And playing that linebacker position, if you're delaying when you're attacking these running backs, they can find ways to be able to juke you out of your cleats. So you have to pay attention to it. But seeing the effort from Demarvion Overshown, he did miss the tackle, but the way that he collided with Eric Kendricks, it just showed that Eric Kendricks delayed in tackling this player. And when that does happen, players tend to get hurt. So that's something that you have to pay attention to. So we'll go ahead and run it. Blocking on this play here. It looked like Saquon Barkley, he was blocking, but he shoots off to the left. And Demarvion Overshown, he does see it. Eric Kendrick sees it as well. But you see that he's delaying and attacking a guy like Saquon. And that's what Saquon wants when it comes down to the open field. A lot of sliding with his legs, and Saquon gives him a quick juke move. And it's crazy because it caught Eric Kendricks off guard. Eric Kendricks is a power player. He's not the most bendiest linebacker like a Demarvion Overshown. But seeing Demarvion Overshown attempt to tackle Barkley, Eric Kendricks gets juked. And next thing you know, his whole chest is exposed. And this play would have never happened if he would have went out there and attacked Barkley early on. But I love to see the hustle when it comes down to a guy like Demarvion Overshown. I want to see better play when it comes down to a guy like Eric Kendricks. He has had some solid reps, but he's had some bad plays to come with it. But I like to see the eyes from Demarvion Overshown, the sideline to sideline ability. You got to finish that tackle and get the ball carrier down. They could have did a lot better on his rep, especially with guys like Eric Kendricks being a veteran. He should know what he needs to do to get himself in position. So on this final play here, it was good to see the movement from Demarvion Overshown. You will be going up against the most athletic tight ends and wide receivers in the league. So when you're looking for these linebackers, not only do you need to find players that can be able to stop the run, but you have to have the ability to be able to cover. But seeing him read the play, flip his hips, and attack AJ Brown, this is why he jumped off the screen the most this past Sunday. So let's run it. So watching this play here, they snap the ball. Just watching the patience from Demarvion Overshown, not being overly aggressive at that linebacker position, locking in on AJ Brown. Next thing you know, he breaks on the ball and makes the tackle. And I honestly think that right now with this player's play, he is one of the leaders on his defense. And he is a young player, but sometimes you can find those alpha dogs that can go out there and make a difference. And seeing a player to not only be able to get after the quarterback, you're roaming sideline to sideline, you're in coverage. He did it all in this game against the Eagles, but consistency is going to be key. Is not perfect when it comes down to him, but seeing him flash game in and game out, he is definitely showing Pro Bowl potential. And it is absolutely needed when it comes down to this defense if this unit is trying to get their swagger back. So, with the Dallas Cowboys this season, it has been a rocky road. With this defense, we know that these players are very talented, but it's not just going to come down to the talent on the field. Are these coaches going to put these guys in the right position? And they have not done that as of yet. But we will continue to keep making these film sessions for the good and for the bad. I had a few other things that I had going on. That's why I haven't made a video in the last couple of weeks, but we are back in action. We want to bring you guys the best content out there, regardless if this team is doing good or not. So comment below and let me know what you guys think about Demarvion Overshown's game against the Eagles. And do you think that this player can be able to build on this even more? So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe and hit that notification bell because the way the YouTube algorithm works, if you don't hit it, you'll miss on fire live streams and the best Cowboys film sessions on YouTube. All right, Cowboys Nation. Talk to y'all soon. Gone.